Welcome to the Known Victory Church YouTube channel. We are so glad that you found us today. We exist to make Jesus known and to be a place that anyone can call home. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, like, and share these messages so we can truly make Jesus known in our homes, cities, and across the world. We pray that this message impacts you and helps you to grow closer to Jesus.
Yeah, good morning. Glad you're here with us today. It's summertime, and we know there's a lot of people that kind of go away around summertime because it's the time to go away. In fact, Beth and I just got back this past Friday night from a camping trip we took to BC. We had a great kind of time away, a great week away. We went to the lake and were able to get some rest this week and get not as much sleep as we would have hoped, but more rest in the presence of Jesus this week. So it was a good time. But again, thank you for being here. We are so glad that you are here with us this morning for church. It's always an honor. It's my favorite day of the week to be able to come and worship together and fellowship together and connect with one another on Sunday morning. It's my favorite day of the week. And at our church, at Known Victory Church, we have what we call our culture statements, our culture guide, the things that we, about us, that we think are important, and the things that we want to show when we come on a Sunday, or what is our church all about. And there's a few things that our church is all about. Beth mentioned one of them already earlier today, that generosity is our nature, right? It's a part of who we are, who we were created to be, was to be generous. And these are the statements about our church. They can come up. These are the statements about our church that we want to see happen in our society, see happen in our city, see happen in our own lives. That when we come on Sunday, that our church is always about Jesus. Jesus is our purpose. We talk about these things many times, that Jesus is our purpose. It's all about Jesus. And then people are our heartbeat, where it's about each other as well. It's about Jesus, and then it's about one another. That why we do what we do is for each other and for people. And then serving is our honor, that we believe it's an honor that we get to serve, whether that's serving on a Sunday, maybe on our worship team, or serving on our greeting team, or on our media team, or our kids team, that it's an honor that we get to serve each other and serve even just thinking about the kids of our church. I think one of the most important ministries that we have as a church is our children's ministry. It's an opportunity that we have to serve the next generation and teach them about Jesus and show them what it means to follow Jesus. It's very, very important that we get to come alongside parents and teach their kids about Jesus. It's so important. And so thank you to our people who serve in all of these areas. Next one is that leadership is our call. We believe that all of us are called to lead. You might not lead a Fortune 500 company. You might not lead a church. You might not lead in that capacity, but we're all leaders. We lead in our homes. We lead our families. We lead ourselves. We lead those around us. That each and every one of us is called to leadership. That each one of us are leaders. And then generosity is our nature, as we've talked about. Connection is our passion, which is the whole focus of the message today, is going to be called Connection is Our Passion. And the last one is that excellence is our gift. That when we come to serve, when we come, we give the best that we have. We give excellence, the best that we can offer to God. And so that's kind of the culture of who we want to be as a church, and things that we're always striving for, always trying to get to. A lot of these areas we might not ever actually get to, but they're places we want to work our hardest to be able to get to as individuals and as a church. And so these are kind of, again, who we are, kind of goals we have as our church. Is a place that, as we talk about our church, that our church is a place to make Jesus known and to be a place that anyone can call home. And these are how we want to be able to get to that place, that we can be in an area where people can call this place home. People that come from the outside can come in and sit here and feel like they're a part of our community and part of our family. And that's our dream for our church, is to see the communities around us in this area, in West Edmonton, in Alberta, come to know Jesus and be able to be a part of our family. These are the things that, again, we're working towards as individuals and as a church body. In some of these areas we talk about a lot. You hear us talk about generosity every week because, we have that as part of our thing. But some of these areas we don't talk about as much. And the one I want to talk about today, again, is connection is our passion. that connecting with one another is our passion. It's something that we need to be passionate about, is getting to know each other in this room and those who are out of this room but still call this place home. That our job as a church is to connect with one another. If you read through in the book of Acts, the early church, so many times they're together. It says they met together in each other's homes and they worshiped together. They ate together. They did communion together. They prayed for each other. They saw healings happen. They saw miracles happen. They were together a lot. They spent a lot of time together. And it's just the way our culture is now, that I think that not just the churches, but we just don't spend as much time with each other as we used to. I think that I can look back even when I talked to my mom about her generation and how much they used to just be with each other, and they'd go to each other's homes and they knew their neighbors, and they'd sit out on their front porch and they could know each neighbor, and the kids would come by and knock on the door and say, hey, can your mom or can your daughter, I guess, come out to play? Like, these are the moments that we used to see that we're seeing less and less of in our culture, this idea of connecting with each other. Even as a church, I think we've stopped in some ways connecting with each other. I think a lot of the time what churches goes down to is just 1 or 2 hours on Sunday, and that's the only connection we have with each other throughout the entire week. And our job, I believe, is to create space for us to connect on deeper and more powerful ways together. That it can't just be about Sunday morning. It has to be about growing together week after week, month after month, and year after year, getting to know one another better. It's supposed to be something we're passionate about as people. Something we try and work on in our own lives is connecting with each other. It's so important. This gives us opportunities to pray for each other. It gives us opportunities to carry each other's burdens. It gives us opportunities to encourage one another. There's so many ways that connection can change our lives and change the lives of those around us. And I have 3 areas today that I think connection, it can be powerful in our lives and in your life, in my life, if we are able to become passionate about it, what it can actually do in our lives. So I want to share some of these ways with us, these areas that connection will help us in our walk with Jesus. And how when we are around each other, it can help us grow and keep us on the right track. So the first area I have today is that connection brings accountability. You know, I think one of the deepest desires we have as humans is accountability, even though it's something we don't really think we want. I think one of the things that can actually change our environment or change our lives is this idea of accountability. That connection brings accountability. When we know each other better, we'll know when we're struggling. We'll know when we're lacking. We'll know when we're not meeting our goals. We'll know when we're not actually spending enough time with Jesus. Why? Because we know each other. We trust each other. That accountability comes through connection. So what does accountability do for us? It can keep us on track spiritually. People can hold us accountable to our practices that we have as people, the habits we have when it comes to following Jesus. Maybe when it comes to our daily prayer or our scripture reading every day. Accountability can allow other people into our faith journey and allow us to keep each other sharp, to pick us up when we fall, to push us forward when we get distracted. You ever get distracted? To push us forward when we get distracted, to pray for us when we're struggling, and to pull us up from the pit when we fall in. That accountability comes through connection. And this is what it says in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. It says this, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Do you know what comes through connection is this idea of sharpening one another? To growing stronger together, that together we're stronger than we are alone. As iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. It's going to be really hard to sharpen one another when we don't actually spend time with one another. It's going to be hard for us to stay sharp and to stay aware when we aren't actually spending time with each other. Iron sharpens iron. You know what it takes to sharpen iron? It takes iron. What does it take to sharpen us as followers of Jesus? Oftentimes is other followers of Jesus around us, sharpening us and pushing us forward and helping us when things get challenging. We don't want to be dull. We don't want to be dull as followers of Jesus. We want to be sharp. See, a dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife. So when we're dull, sometimes things get a little bit more crazy. But when we're sharp and we're aware and we know what's going on in our lives are filled with accountability, we're going to start to see more and more things happen. Why? We're going to start to see more and more miracles. Why? Because we're together in it and there's accountability to the things we want to accomplish. I know so many people who want to give up something in their life, maybe something that they're addicted to or something, and they try on their own over and 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 over again. And guess what? They oftentimes always fall back into it when they're trying to do it all alone. That we need each other to keep us sharp, to hold us accountable to the things that God is calling us to do or with the things that God is calling us to change in our own lives. We sharpen one another through connection. We keep our minds strong and we keep our commitments. This is very often the case when it comes to exercise. You know, a few years ago, I used to exercise in the morning. I used to go to the gym in the morning. And whenever my workout partner would say, hey, I can't come tomorrow or I can't come today, do you know how many times I would be like, me neither? Many times. Why? Because I wasn't meeting anyone there. It was all up to me. I had to do it on my own. But if I knew that my partner was going to be there, I'd be there. Because I don't want to be the one who doesn't show up to a 5 a.m. workout or a 6 a.m. workout. I don't want to be the one to miss out. And so when there's somebody holding us accountable, oftentimes we'll actually show up when we're supposed to show up. We'll actually do what we're supposed to do. And this is what accountability and connection does. It can change us. It can push us to be the best versions of ourselves. See, you might want to commit to growing in your faith this year. This might require some accountability through connection. It might mean meeting with someone every week or every month to keep track of where you are in your faith journey when it comes to following Jesus. Maybe you want to commit to reading your Bible more frequently, or maybe you even want to read the whole Bible in a year. It might mean bringing someone else into that journey with you so that way you're not going through it alone. You ever do something, you do it really well for a few weeks and then you just give up because you don't see results? It happens so many times as we go through life. We're like, I'm going to do this for once. I'm going to get healthy as an individual. I'm going to read my Bible more. And then how many times it just starts to fade away. We need more accountability and more connection when it comes to our lives. See, connection allows other people into our journey and allows us to stay sharp, honest, and faithful in our walk. The next thing that I see here is connection provides strength and support. So not only does this connection bring accountability, it brings strength and support. See, alone we are more vulnerable than when we are together. We're way more vulnerable when we are alone than when we are together. See, the enemy, what he loves to do is isolate us. He likes to isolate us. He likes to get us alone. Because he knows how vulnerable we can be when we're alone. See, we connect with each other to provide strength and support through some of our hardest moments and hardest journeys. It's easier to attack someone when they're alone, right? But when we're together again, we become stronger. We all go through tough times. We all go through challenging times. We all go through things and seasons that are hard. And I know I've gone through so many seasons in my own life that have been so challenging. And I'm so grateful for the local church and my community that has been around me through my hardest moments. I know when I think about my mom and all the journey she went on, if it wasn't for our church, things would have been a lot different because they were there for her in her hardest moments and they didn't expect anything from her. They just gave her everything she needed. You know, there's stories about my mom, you know, she was faithfully giving. I share this so many times. She was faithfully giving. And it was right when my parents got separated, my mom needed a place to live, and she was, you know, a single mom basically with, you know, just a little salary trying to find a place to live. And all of a sudden she gets a call from the church and says, hey, there's a family from our church moving to Houston, and they want to pay somebody to live in their house for the next year at least. So my mom says, I would love to do that. So we moved into, I think it was a 5-bedroom home with a walkout basement that my mom was being paid to live in as a single mom. Incredible, incredible stories. Why? Because the people were around her to help her be strong. That she didn't go through the tough moments all alone. That the church was there for her in her hardest and darkest moments. See, this is what it says in Ecclesiastes. You might know this. It says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a three-braided cord is not easily broken. This is a verse maybe we've heard a lot of, that a three-corded braid is not easily broken, that when we can stand together back to back, we can conquer. I think so many times in our life, you ever feel defeated? Do you ever feel attacked and you don't know what to do? You ever feel like you're just defeated in your journey? I think we all have moments, maybe we feel defeated. We feel like there's no hope. We feel like things are struggling. And we look around and guess what? There's no one around us. But there's nobody around us. And we're wondering why we feel this way. It's because we need each other to be there for each other. Because when we can stand back to back, we can conquer even the biggest of enemies. And the biggest of challenges and the biggest and hardest moments. Maybe when you look around you, the only companion you see is your shadow. Sometimes that's how it feels. And sometimes even our shadow disappears when it gets really dark, you know? This is a dangerous place to be because we're vulnerable. Doesn't matter how strong we are. We're never going to be able to do it all by ourselves. It's easy to be attacked and defeated when we're alone. But when we stand back to back, we are stronger. We're harder to attack and we're harder to defeat. I think oftentimes we fall into this trap of we think isolation is the solution to our problem. You want to know why? Because sometimes people are hard to deal with. Sometimes people are challenging to deal with. Sometimes people just annoy us. And we're like, I better be alone. And sometimes it's hard because we think it's safer to be in isolation. Because we think if I'm isolated, no one will know my sin. No one will know my problem. I can deal with it on my own. And most of the time we fall every single time, right? Most of the time we fall. Because we're trying to do it on our own. We need each other. Because this is a trap that we believe that isolation is a solution, but it's not. Connection is the solution. Bringing those things into the light is important. Connection allows us to stand back to back, ready to deflect any attack the enemy throws our way, and allows us to conquer the attacks of the enemy. Allows us to become a three-cord bond, a bond that is not easily broken. It allows us to be real with each other. It allows us to be honest with one another. See, connection can give us the strength we lack on our own. Can give us the strength we need sometimes to just keep on fighting, someone to pick us up, to push us forward. See, I want to encourage you, if you are feeling isolated or you are feeling alone, if you're feeling this way, it's time to bring someone else into the fight. It's time to bring someone else into the fight to fight alongside you. That no matter what you're going through, there's somebody who can be there for you. And my prayer is that we as a church can be there for each other. That we can be there for each other when things don't make sense, when we're confused, when we're feeling defeated, when we're feeling attacked, that we can be there for one another. I would love to be in a place where someone's struggling, they can call someone in our church and that person will be there for them in a moment, praying for them and encouraging them and carrying their burden. If you're struggling to keep on going, it's time to allow others back in, to pick you back up, to allow others into your journey and into your story. This can give us the strength we need, right, to keep on going and the ability to overcome any obstacle, any giant, any mountain that tries to get in our way. And the last area that I want to go through this morning is that connection reflects the heart of Jesus. Connection reflects the heart of Jesus. It's something Jesus is passionate about. It's something that the Bible is filled of, is connection. That when people were feeling isolated and alone, someone came alongside of them to be there for them. You see it over and over and over and over again through the scriptures, through the Old Testament and the New Testament. Someone going through it alone, and they need somebody, and God always provides somebody to help them through the journey. See, connection is powerful, but I don't think it's optional. I think sometimes we think connection is optional, but the truth about connection is that I think it's mandatory when it comes to our faith. It's this idea that we do need one another. We can't go through this journey all by ourselves. It's not just something we should choose to do, but I think that's something we need to adamantly pursue with all we have is connection and transparency and vulnerability with one another. It's a way for us to carry each other's burdens and be there for one another. Like it says in Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, right? Share each other's burdens. And then it says this, and in this way, obey the law of Christ. Share each other's burdens, and in this way, obey the law of Christ. We need to share each other's burdens. And you know what the truth is about burdens? I can't carry your burden if I don't know it exists. We can't help each other carry burdens if I don't even know that it exists in your life. We can't be there for each other if we don't even know what's going on in each other's lives. If we don't even know the biggest struggles and the biggest inadequacies and the biggest failures and the biggest fears that we go through as humans. We're not going to be able to be there for one another. We're not even, it says, in this way, obey the law of Christ. We're not even going to be able to obey the law of Christ in this way if we don't know what's going on. And it's not just hard burdens, but sometimes it's good burdens. For example, let's say you have a business that's going really, really well. That can be a big burden. Or maybe you have an incredible family that you love and you're a great parent. But guess what? Sometimes it can be hard. It can be challenging. And I know, you know what I love about our church is we have some of the best parents I've ever seen in our church. Some of the greatest parents, people that I learn from, that I see parent, and I love it. But being a good parent isn't always easy. Being a good parent is not always easy. Being a good spouse is not always easy. Being a good friend isn't always easy. It's important, and it might feel sometimes like a burden. But see, the responsibility is for us to carry the burden together. That our responsibility is even to carry the burden of sharing the gospel together. That our responsibility is to be there for each other and carry each other's burdens. Because we can carry a lot more together than we can alone. See, the burden you have might feel like it's so insurmountable, that it's so big and so vast. They're like, I can't burden somebody else with this. It's one of the biggest things I hear from people is, I don't want to be a burden. The Bible says, share each other's burdens. So when we have this idea, I don't want to be a burden on you. I don't want to be a burden on the church. I don't want the church to have to carry my problems and my stuff. I don't want you to have to deal with it. The responsibility says, in this way, obey the law of Christ by sharing each other's burdens. Your burden is meant to be shared. In fact, our idea should be, I want to be a burden. Right? I want it to be that I don't have to carry it alone, that we get to carry it together. I want to be a burden. Even saying that or thinking about that is like, for some of us, we're like, I could never say that, right? I get it, it's hard. You're like, you already have your family and you got your kids and you got your job and you got your career and you have all these things. You don't need one more thing on your plate. You're already walking around like a waitress trying to clean up after lunch. Plates stacked and bowls stacked and glasses stacked. And we might feel like we're going to fall. Guess what? Let me take some of that burden from you. Some of us might be going through some very deep challenges that we don't even know exist. I want to encourage you, those burdens aren't meant to be carried alone. They're much easier to carry when someone else is helping you. We went, again, as I said, we went camping this week. We were in Salmon Arm. We're staying in cabins. My brother brought his kayaks with him. Guess what? We never even went on a kayak one time. True story. And I saw him, it was the last day, it was Friday morning, and he was packing up and he was trying to get his kayaks back on his vehicle. You know what? I know my brother could do it alone. I am stronger and tougher than my brother, I promise you that. But he could do it alone. But I offered to help him. And you know what? It took probably a quarter of the time doing it together than it would have taken him by himself. It was just easier to lift this onto his vehicle with two people. You know, when I worked at Canadian Tire, that was my first real job, Canadian Tire. And at that time, this is a true story, I looked like almost like a war veteran because they'd give out pins for good customer service. I don't know if they do it still, probably not. But I had probably, I'm not kidding you, 20 pins on my shirt. So that was awesome. But the truth is, sometimes they go to the back and they'd be like a barbecue, 2-person lift. I'd be like, 2-person. Look at me, you know, and I'd do it by myself. And that's back in my younger days. Now I'd probably break my back, you know. But it's easier to carry it together. See, you might be able to carry your burden alone for a while. You might even be able to carry your burden to the finish line. You might be able to. But do you know what's going to happen if you do? You're going to be left exhausted. You're going to be left burnt out. You're going to be left angry. You're going to be left resentful. You're going to be left fearful. You're going to be left annoyed. You ever do something around your house and your spouse doesn't help and you're kind of like, come on, help me please, but you don't say anything? Or fearful or annoyed and not ready for the next burden. You might make it, but you're going to be so exhausted, you're not going to have time for your family. You're not going to have time to read the Bible. You're not going to have time to worship. You're not going to have time in your own life. Why? Because you're so focused on struggling with your burden. That would be so much easier if someone came alongside you and helped you carry it. And we think we have this attitude almost of like, I can do it on my own, and you might be able to. But do you know it would be a lot easier if you did it with somebody else? It would be easier if someone came alongside you. It would take much less time, much less energy. When we come together, we can share each other's burdens. We can go through storms and be less battered by the waves, less tired from the wind, and less strained from the battle when we do it together. We can stand with one another right back to back, heart to heart. We become stronger, we become disciplined, we become each other's greatest allies. We need one another. We were designed for connection from the beginning. When God said what he said, it's not good for man to be alone. Created to be connected. And I think it's what our souls have been longing for ever since the beginning, is go back to connection with each other, where you're going to be vulnerable and honest and transparent. And the truth is, and this starts even with me, is that I believe as our church, Known Victory Church, we need to do a better job when it comes to connection. I really believe this. I need to do a better job. We need to be better at being there for each other. It's the truth. We need to be better at it. If we want to say that connection is our passion, guess what? It better be something we're passionate about. And you might be like, I'm not passionate about connection. I'm super comfy sitting in my chair at home and being alone. I'm super comfortable with that. But our prayer has to be, God, give me a passion to connect with the body of Christ and connect with my friends and my family. It's got to be something that we're pursuing. You know, church shouldn't be a place that we try and leave as quickly as possible as we can after the service. It's a place where we stick around and we connect with one another. Ask a question like, hey, how's work this week? And if they say, it was good, be like, what was good about it? And they'll be like, nothing. And have these real connections and conversations. And I want to encourage all of us, when someone asks you, how you doing? Don't just say, I'm busy, or I'm good, or I'm all right, I'm okay. Actually think about it. This is what I've tried to do in my own life. When someone says, hey, how are you? I'm like, let me think for a minute. Because my natural response is, I'm good, I'm busy, I'm tired. Even today, someone's like, how are you? I'm like, I'm tired. That doesn't give you any answer. You don't even know why I'm tired. That we can be honest with each other and pray for each other. Hey, I'm tired. Hey, let me pray for you. Hey, I'm busy. Let me pray for you. Being busy is a big burden to carry. Let me pray for you. Is there anything I can help with? How can I help you? And one thing we've been talking about, and something that I believe God has placed on my heart and our church's heart for the future, is to have opportunities to connect throughout the week. Connect groups. We used to call them known groups. This is how I believe, we can't just connect on Sunday. It has to happen midweek. And so we have 2 groups happening right now. One happens Mondays for mom's group. It's called Mama Mondays. You see it right there. It's at my house. I hide in the basement. Sometimes I come up and Chelsea's there. She's like, hi, And I try not to be awkward, but I kind of am awkward, as a person. I'm like, hey, anyway. But this is a place to connect. A place to let your kids play and get to know each other. See, the thing about connection is not just for you as an individual. It's oftentimes for families. I want my kids' best friends to be kids who come to our church. I truly want that. I also want them to connect with kids at school and all that, of course, but I want my kids' best friends to be people at church. Where they grow up together in their faith. They learn about Jesus together and they grow up. Some of my best friends I still have today are people I grew up with in church and served with at church. Some of my best friends are some of my friends still from Calgary. In fact, next Sunday, the new youth pastor at my old church, his name is Brandon. He was one of my students, is preaching next Sunday here. I'm so excited about it. I want to encourage all of you to come because he's amazing. And I'm excited for him to share the word. But some of my closest friends come from people that I grew up in church with. And this mom's group, it's a great place to invite other moms and their kids to. They went to the zoo the other day. They have these opportunities to connect. We have another one Saturday night. It's our Saturday night group called Freedom Saturdays. It happens right here in the mall at the Love Edmonton Chapel downstairs. It's an opportunity for worship, and there's a message, and there's fellowship, and there's deliverance, and they're seeing so many powerful things happen Saturday nights right here in the mall. I was just talking to Jeff, because it's run by Jeff and Joanna and Mike and Kayla, and they run this amazing group. They've been doing it for a long time. But I just talked to Jeff today. There's all these stories of, I've been talking to Mike of all these stories of people coming back to know Jesus and people giving their lives to Jesus and people experiencing freedom and people experiencing life. People from the mall just walking in and they start coming week after week and bringing people in, and God's moving powerfully. I want to encourage us, let's connect with one another. These are the 2 groups we have right now, but the truth is we need more. Not everyone can make it out on a Saturday night. Not everyone can make it out on a Monday during the day. We need more opportunities to connect midweek. We want to give everyone an opportunity to be able to connect and grow in their faith and be discipled and learn. So I want to encourage you, I've asked before, if you're interested in leading a group, a known group, a connect group, come let us know, because we need opportunities to be able to connect with each other. And there's ways that we can do it. You can maybe meet in your own home. Maybe we could find a place we could rent to be able to do groups. One thing we can do is we can do some online groups that allows people from different parts of the city and even different cities altogether connect with each other on a midweek. So maybe you want to host a group. Maybe you want to host a Bible study, or you want to do like some sort of curriculum or program that you think is really cool, something that God's been speaking to you. Maybe you want to just do a midweek where you take the message from Sunday, you watch it and you discuss it as a community, as a group. You just talk about the message, and we could provide questions and we could provide things for you to be able to make this happen. Maybe you want to just host a place to connect, to talk about life, to pray for one another, to eat meals together, to be there for each other in the hardest moments. Maybe you want to do a group like that. In the past, again, we've had Bible studies, we've had leadership development, we've even done ones, we did a ukulele group. People came and learned how to play ukulele. It was awesome. And it was cute. And it's important to connect with each other. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It doesn't have to be this, 10-step program to this. It's just to connect with each other. So maybe you want to host a group. Come, please chat with me. I'd love to figure out a way we can make this happen. And one thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be relaunching our prayer group. We used to do prayer at our old facility every Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. And since we've moved to this facility, we haven't done it yet. And it's something that I've been wanting to do. To be honest, that's one of the biggest things I miss. I was meeting with, I believe it was Jeff, and we were talking about it. I was like, I miss it. And so what we're going to do to start at least is we're going to start Wednesday mornings, 6 a.m. on Zoom. You might say 6 a.m. comes too soon. I know it does. I'm going to tell you a little bit secret about me. I do not like mornings. And for someone who doesn't like mornings, I get up early a lot. Sometimes, true story, I'll set my alarm. I struggle getting out of bed. Anyone else the same? My alarm goes off. I'm like, please, God, give me 2 more hours. That's all I ask. My prayer today is just 2 more hours of sleep, And Beth will be like, Dustin, your alarm went off. You already turned it off 4 times. Got to get out of bed. I do not like mornings, but I want to encourage you. Just try and join us. Get up early. And maybe you have an opportunity. Maybe you can take a nap in the afternoon. God loves naps. You read so many stories and it's just naps. Jesus just napping on a boat in the middle of a storm. I want to get to that place, right? That's going to happen 6 a.m. on Zoom. We're going to try it this way and hope maybe change it as we go forward. But I want to encourage everyone to join us because, again, you can do it even from your own house. You don't even have to start your car. If it's minus 30 outside, guess what? You can stay home unless you have to go to work, but then you can go to work later. But get up early, make yourself a coffee or a tea, or I don't know if you drink a water, and join us. So I'm going to be having this link. I'll send it out in our email this week. And if you do need the link, I'm going to get it set up this week and just text me or email me and I'll send you the link for that. But I think if we want to get better at connection, we need to commit to it as individuals. Commit to connecting with each other. Commit to seeing each other outside church on Sunday mornings. See, 1 to 2 hours on a Sunday, again, isn't enough. But we need to connect and be there for one another in real and powerful ways. So the big thing, again, if you're interested in leading a group, please come chat with me. I'd love to figure out how we can make that happen. But our takeaway today is this, is that connection makes us stronger, sharper, and more like Jesus. Because we can see Jesus in one another. Maybe you can see the compassion Jesus has in somebody else and you look at yourself like, I don't got that compassion. Maybe you can see a father's heart, Jesus' father's heart, and you can see that in somebody else, but you don't have that. Or maybe you can see some areas of patience or peace that someone else carries that you maybe struggle with, that we can be more like Jesus together. Connection makes us stronger, sharper, and more like Jesus.